Hey guys, there's something I've been meaning to do for quite a while, and that is to set up interviews for the show that are outside the regular show. Oftentimes we get people from Blizzard who come on the Friday show, or we tack it on as a second interview, and we'll keep doing that where it makes sense. But there's so much extended community and other podcasters, broadcasters, YouTubers, personalities, people in and around the kind of WoW ecosystem that I think you guys would love to hear from. And I know I would. So we're going to start doing these more often. And when we do them, we'll stick them on the feed as a separate thing, kind of dead center between shows. So we air the new episodes of The Instance on Fridays. We'll try to tack these in on Tuesdays, that sort of thing. We've got today's. We got one like that right now. It's with Danielle. Her last name's Mackey. You might know her from her appearance this season on King of the Nerds. She's on that show, and she's doing great. And she's a YouTube sensation and covers a whole lot of World of Warcraft, as well as League of Legends and other stuff. And I won't go into it too much because you're going to hear it in the interview. So you're going to hear all about that in a minute. But I just wanted to let you know up front and quick here how this is going to work, how these interviews will be inserted in here. I'm really excited about it as something that we can do here on the feed. Let me know your feedback. Love to know what you think. theinstance@gmail.com. Let's get on with the interview. Here's Danielle. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Instance. Thank you for joining me for this special, I'm going to call this kind of a community-based interview, or an interview with somebody who isn't necessarily at Blizzard, but somebody who is calling a lot of shots on the outside as far as Warcraft coverage and video games go. I'm very excited to introduce Danielle Mackey. You may know her specifically from the hot new hit TV show on TBS called King of the Nerds. She is one of the contestants on this season of that show, and it's fantastic, and I'm totally loving it, and she's great on there. But she's also TradeChat on YouTube. You've probably seen her videos if you are at all into World of Warcraft and lately into League of Legends. Join me in welcoming Danielle. Hello, Danielle.
Hi.
Great to have you on. I just saw like an episode with you in it, and that looks like a whole lot of fun there.
Did I look crazy?
You didn't look too crazy. You looked like, well, okay, I have a confession to make, and I didn't tell you this even before the show, but my daughter, who's now 15, basically dresses like you do on the show.
Oh, she has great taste.
Pink hair, rabbit ear hats,
I love this girl.
Goofy shoes, whatever she can get her hands on, that's kind of how she rolls. And so for whatever it's worth, you have a fan in her because she just really digs that whole motif. So good job on that. But it's great to have you on the show. A big name in the community as far as WoW is concerned, and I'm really excited to talk to you about the game.
I'm excited too. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Before we get too deep into it, though, I got a question about this. How does someone who majored in biology and chemistry in college end up doing the work you're doing, covering video games, covering game culture on the internet, being on the tester, being on King of the Nerds? How did that happen from those humble scientific beginnings?
You know, it's funny because when I was like in high school, I had my life all planned out. I was working at the Humane Society at the time. I was going to go to school. I was going to dual major. I was going to be pre-vet. I was going to go into ready for what I wanted to do. Animal behavior pharmaceuticals. Oh, yeah. I had it all figured out. And then...
Is that like antidepressants for dogs and stuff? Is that?
Oh yeah, okay. No, like doggy Prozac. Like if a dog like was having problems where like it bit someone or something, like, you know, maybe it had a chemical imbalance that caused that dog bipolar or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this was my grand plan that I was gonna do, and I went to college, had really good grades, was on a good scholarship, and came home for Christmas break, and my dad's girlfriend had moved into his house, and she has kids as well that are about my age, only they have children, I don't. Oh. And my bedroom had been converted into a nursery for the children because my dad didn't go to college. No one in my family went to college, and nobody got that I had to come home. Like they thought I was gone. So I kind of was in this bind where like, oh my goodness, what do I do? So I got an apartment right when I was 18 years old, no roommate. So I had 2 jobs and I was going to college, and it was just it was a lot. It was a lot. And the more I was doing science and the more that I was doing these pre-vet studies, the more I realized that this grand plan that I had was completely unrealistic, was not a field that wasn't going to happen. And I was going to end up having this degree and I was going to end up having to be like a veterinarian or something, which is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to help animals that didn't have any other choice, and I was going to end up being a vet telling little old ladies that their beagles needed to eat less kibble. And that was not what I wanted to do with my life. So I thought about it, and I was going to Utica College, actually, when I was going, was in the top 15 most expensive schools in the country. So I decided that I should stop paying $38,000 to get a degree I wasn't going to use. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take some time off, and I was just kind of waitressing full time and getting by, like just paying my bills. And I played a lot of World of Warcraft as an escape because my real life was very stressful. I mean, it was paying bills and doing my taxes and real life adult stuff. That's no fun.
No.
So World of Warcraft was really an escape for me. And about 2 years into playing, I thought, I could make World of Warcraft videos on YouTube. And YouTube wasn't that big of a thing when I started. I don't really remember even looking to see if anybody made those types of videos because I didn't really know many YouTubers at all. So, I don't know, my first 2 years of videos are awful. I really can't believe anybody watched them. I just had no timing. I had very little camera presence. I think people just liked that I swore and burped. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
there is something to that. There's this, and I think YouTube got a real boost from regular people doing regular things in a format that was convenient and easy to get to, and it focused on something they really are into. And I think podcasting is the same. I feel like YouTubers and the way that has all kind of grown out with game coverage is sort of the same. So you filled a niche that wasn't being filled, clearly.
Yeah, and I guess I grew enough of an audience where things actually started. I remember in I want to say it was 2.5 or 3 years ago, I won something through YouTube where they gave you money to get new equipment. And that was I was like, oh my goodness, things are coming of this. At the time I was making a joke amount of money. I'm talking $20 or $30 a month. Not
right.
It was pizza money.
Right.
And then all of a sudden YouTube gives me all this money to buy a new camera and a new microphone and all this stuff because I was filming on a 6-year-old digital camera that just happened to have a video recording feature. And I started getting really serious about it and doing a better job editing, and I got a new computer, and I put a lot of work into it, and now it's a full-fledged production.
Yeah, embraced it. That's awesome. So the game obviously is a huge influence in that regard.
Oh, absolutely.
Wouldn't have done all this without it. How do you feel about WoW, the place that WoW is today versus where it was in the past? I mean, the game turns 8 this year. Excuse me, is it 8? Yeah. Wait, next year? No, it turns 9. I'm sorry. Yeah, it turns 9 this November. And it's such a weird thing to look back and go, look at all the little cottage industries that have cropped up around Warcraft being a huge success. How are you able to reconcile it, or how do you see this do you see it as more than just a game? Is it just a game and we all got lucky? I'm real curious about your perspective on WoW as it is today as sort of a cultural, wagon that we all tied our hitch to.
Well, I think that it was really the social aspect of World of Warcraft that hooked so many people in. And it's sad because I feel with the addition of LFG, the social structure of WoW has really depleted. I'm not kidding, all of my time playing alone. I very rarely play with people. All of my guilds that I've been very attached to have broken up, and I'm sick of server transferring and then eventually having that guild break up. And I think that the beginning of the end of the social structure of WoW was LFG, because I remember before Looking for Group came out, you would have to construct a group and then go summon people, and it was an ordeal. It was a lot of work, and you had to put a little bit of dedication into it, and you would plan your groups accordingly. You would get a paladin because you wanted kings, and you would get a mage because you wanted arcane brilliance, and you would get a hunter because you needed a freeze trap, and etc. And I would remember that you would type /2 looking for more black morass PST, and then someone would say, hey, invite me, and you'd see like 3 people be like, that guy's a jerk, that guy's a ninja, don't invite him.
Yeah.
Because it used to be unacceptable to be rude in World of Warcraft. Like, you couldn't get groups if you were rude in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, no longer the case. No longer the case.
That's not, you can't, I mean, it's really hard to kick someone out of a group when they are legitimately being a bad teammate, and now it's just so different. It's just very different.
Yeah, you make a really good point about that, and it's an odd thing because I mean, I come from this perspective of now we just celebrated our 6th year with our guild, and we started around the show, and it was no big deal at the time. It was just friends, but it's grown to be about 7,000 people, and those are active players.
Wow,
and we get really spoiled. Like, we always have somebody to run with. We have huge groups running all kinds of end-game content, and they're doing it with people they like and trust and know. We have a 400-man vent server that's running all the time, so there's always somebody in there talking, and you don't run into these issues. And so when you do stray off and go, I'm going to play with this alt, and I'm going to go run some LFR or LFG or whatever, and you go into those situations and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot how this can be. Like, this can just be so raunchy in here. Not always. There's sometimes, occasionally you'll run into people that are cool, but most of the time, even if you're not having a problem in there, no one's talking. You're right. There is no interaction. They may as well be NPCs. So the question to you is, what can be done? I mean, the reason that they put this stuff in place in the first place was obviously to encourage people to play content they weren't playing. So it seems to have done that job, and it's part of the progression now. But is the loss of that social construct, that social work it used to take to get in there and do anything, is that a terrible thing?
I think it is pretty bad, and I think there's a really easy solution to fix it. I don't think they need to remove LFR or LFG, but right now, if you solo queue in LFG, you get rewards. If you queue up with one friend, you lose your rewards.
Yeah.
Why is that? Like, what, you should get the same rewards for queuing up in a party that you do for queuing up solo, because all that does is encourage anonymous trolling behavior.
Yeah, no,
that's all they would need to do to fix it. Like, it's not even a difficult thing, but like, I don't understand why people who queue up anonymously get rewards when people who have worked to get to that social structure where they have friends in game, like, I don't know, you should get the same rewards. And especially since those 3, say you and 2 of your guildies queued up with 2 randoms, like, those 3 people would be way more beneficial to have in a group than one guy.
Right, some guy who's just a jerk.
May or may not be a jerk.
Yeah, because you don't know until you get in there. That's very interesting. I just think it's interesting that a game that its roots are so much in the social experience is now, has to fight this as a thing. It's an odd place they find themselves.
Well, it was never anonymous. I mean, you used to have to run to Arathi Highlands to queue up to do Arathi Basin.
Yeah, that was a beast.
And that was, it gave a different sense of devotion. Like, you didn't have people that AFK'd in BGs because they just spent 10 minutes on a flight path to get there.
Yeah.
And then another 8 or 9 minutes standing outside waiting for a new battle to start. I mean, I am very pro the changes they've made to leveling. I love all the new areas. I love the increased experience. Although I do think Refer a Friend is a little bit BS. I don't understand why you have these newbie players that have no idea what they're doing leveling at 3 times. That doesn't really make any logical sense to me at all. And then they're missing out on the beautiful world and the lore of the quests and so on and so forth. But I mean, I love so many of the changes they've made to the game. I actually really like LFR. But, like, I don't think LFG was necessary. Like, I never remember being like, oh, I can't find 4 people to run with me. Like, ever. Like, I do think pugging raids was very difficult if you didn't have someone to raid with. But I don't think LFG was necessary at all. I like that you can queue up and just zone there and you don't have to fly. But
Sure. I mean, and there are probably other ways they could have approached that so that you could still get there quickly and remove some of that footwork, but still have the experience of having to get the group together, make it function the way you need it to as a group, make it all cohesive and all of that. That's a pretty good point. But I don't know. I know. I also, on the other hand, I see why they do certain things.
And I definitely understand. I mean, it's much easier for a new player or a casual player to get things done that way. So I understand it. But I think if they made it so that I mean, maybe they should make it that you get rewards if you queue up in a group rather than queuing up the easy way.
Yeah,
I mean, think about it. It takes a lot more work to like get a group together than it does to hit queue for instance. I mean, maybe they need to swap that completely and encourage people to make the groups themselves among people on their server, because now with LFG, it's impossible to find a guild. But the first guild that I was ever in, Beef Gone Bad on Spirestone, it was the best guild ever. It was the best guild ever. No one can ever tell me any different. I met those people when I was leveling. My very first character was level like 40. No, lower than that, because it was Scarlet Monastery, so it was like 30.
Wow.
I met them at level 30 on my very first character, and they were running alts, and they helped me. Like, they were so nice. Oh, I have a druid. You can try doing this. You can try doing that. I mean, it was great, and I played with them until I ended up having, like, 3 max level characters in BC, and the guild ended up kind of disbanding-ish.
Yeah, so what, yeah, so explain that a little bit. What do you suppose happened to them if they were so amazing? How did they fall apart in the end? What happened there?
They weren't, some people wanted a progression raid and some people didn't, and it wasn't a large enough guild. Like the people who wanted to raid had to go find another guild to do so, and that left only about half of the original people, and it kind of was our favorite people. So I don't know, it just, I mean, I understand that eventually people will go their separate ways.
Sure.
Like, we tried merging with other guilds. It's hard to be a small guild. It's hard out there on the streets.
Yeah, it's rough. So leave
but
it was.
I mean, I've never found a guild with that type of environment since then. I mean, we were all legitimately friends, and I don't know. I've just never really found anything quite like that since then, and it certainly hasn't made me give up on WoW at all. I mean, I'm still playing daily. I have 3 90s. So,
well, if you ever get bored and you need a good guild, AIE on Earthen Ring, always open to new players. And it's so weird. It was founded by myself, Veronica Belmont, and 2 other people back in, I guess it had been 06 now, 07. And it's just gotten bigger and bigger and better and better.
That's so awesome.
Oh, it's
That's
great.
so great.
It is the best. We're spoiled.
I might come and invade your guilds.
You're welcome anytime. So 5.2 coming out pretty quick here. It seems.
Is it Alliance or Horde?
Well, we're Horde.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh,
okay.
Good.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh, I should have asked earlier. What do you prefer? Because that's usually my starter question on these things.
I have a Horde symbol tattooed on my arm.
Okay, there you go then. I have one etched in a wallet, and I have a jacket that I'm wearing right now with a Horde symbol on it. So we're all in good company.
5.2.
So 5.2 should be out. My prediction was today, but it doesn't look like that. Well, it's not going to happen. I don't know if the servers are back up, but probably next week. Are you excited about it? And if you are, what exactly about this patch?
I am excited about the dumbest thing about patch 5.2. Ask me what I'm excited about.
All right. What? Let me see if I can guess, actually. The dumbest thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let me eliminate things. Pet battle related?
No. That's not dumb.
Not the new island? The new island.
No.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out what you think might be dumb. Oh my gosh, I have no idea. Tell me, lay it on me.
So my paladin,
yeah,
because Blood Elf paladins are by far the best characters to transmog in the game. They just plate gear is the best. All gear looks the best on Blood Elves. My paladin has just a bank full of gear. And currently, the transmog restrictions are just really stupid. Like, you can't transmog a main-handed sword as a one-handed sword. And that restriction is being removed. And I've got this sword that I got out of High Jaw that I've never been able to transmog because I've never had a one-handed sword. I've always had a main hand sword.
Right.
Or vice versa. And that is changing. And and I've got another weapon that's out of I don't know, a BC instance or raid, but it's big purple rock thing, and it's awesome. And I've been waiting to transmog those for, I'm not joking, like a solid year.
It sounds like players like you are the ones that have helped make this a reality. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, this is happening.
Well, I know I've got friends who play rogues who are equally excited about this same feature.
Yep.
They think this is a long time coming. So that'll be I don't think that's dumb. This is what makes the game personal to everybody, and I think these small changes, when they really affect people, are great. So
super excited.
Not dumb. Let's call it not dumb. Okay. How do you feel about one of the big criticisms the game has had in the last couple of months is the just breadth and depth of dailies. Dailies seem to be, homework.
I am a horrible casual player who just doesn't do dailies. It's terrible. Like, I have none of the vendors unlocked. Golden Lotus, what is that? Like, I've started them on like all of my alts, but because I'm not raiding, I don't see the point in doing all the work to unlock the vendors. Like, it just doesn't, I just don't see the point. So I've been like, I have leveled so many random alts this expansion. It's like pathetic. I don't even know what I do with my time. I spend a lot of times running old dungeons to get transmog gear and to get pets.
Yeah.
It's not good.
You're illustrating a thing that's interesting in the game, and it's Blizzard's own fault, and it's their destiny to try to manage it all, but they have to figure out how to make a game that a player like you still wants to play. Someone who doesn't like dailies, someone who doesn't want to worry about in-game.
I liked Wrath of the Lich King. I don't understand why. Like, the way that you got gear was great. The people who were running hardcore heroic raids had a totally different set of gear than people who either got it from vendors or casually raided. I think the Wrath of the Lich King was the best that WoW was prior to LFG coming out.
Yeah, I loved Wrath. Wrath was amazing.
And I didn't like it at the time. I literally made a video that was like, I am so excited for Wrath to be over. Worst expansion, da da da. And like, I spend so much time eating the words that I say on YouTube.
It's all right. People probably appreciate that.
Yeah, no, Wrath was a great, and Wrath was when they were the highest subscribed. I mean, they should really go back and look at what worked about that. The fact that 10 and 25 man were separate. Think about that. People actually knew all the fights because they did them 2 times a week.
Yeah, that's a good point. There was,
you know what I mean?
A whole lot of that going on.
You could always get in an ICC pug any time of the day, and I was on a medium population server, and you could still get in an ICC pug any time of the day.
You did get used to things like the way you do heroics. You had your daily heroic, and you'd run and you'd meet somebody.
Daily. That was a good daily, and then you would experience all the instances. And I didn't like it at the time, but I really liked, looking back, the format of Wrath of the Lich King prior to LFG coming out was awesome.
Yeah.
And I remember I made a video right after LFG came out that was like, wow, people are jerks. What happened in my World of Warcraft?
Yeah, it did change. It definitely changed things. But I do remember loving that feeling of going down there into near the what the hell was it called?
Not the sewers. It was right near that instance.
Yeah, the one that was the instance that was basically random encounters. I always forget. Citadel of something, who knows what. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I remember going down there. You'd go over to the NPC and you'd get this cool holographic looking vision of the boss you needed to kill that day.
It was like Star Trek. Yeah,
it was great.
It was good.
Yeah, I loved that, and we loved Old War. There was a lot to love about
Captain Slog. Today, kill Onyxia.
That's pretty good. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. I wasn't going to do this, but I am going to do it now. So
no.
Hold on. I completely forgot about this. So during your, I want to say the initial episode. Yeah, it was the first episode, wasn't it? Yeah. First episode of King of the Nerds. You made all WoW players proud. And it happened pretty early. And I'm just going to play this clip. You'll be able to hear it as well. This is you there with everybody, getting ready for the big chess match. And you said this.
Loktar, oh God! That means victory or death in Orcish.
All right. Best part about that is that you had defined it for everybody. And I love that there are many people at home who had no idea what you were doing. And there were millions of us who went, dude, that's awesome. She may as well be Garage Hellscream fangirl up there because she nailed it.
After that episode aired, I had that moment of like, today I learned it's Loktar, oh God. Thank you, everyone on Twitter. Thank you.
Yes, they're always there to help. That's what they do. All right, back on track. So 5.2, that's coming. That's exciting. Are you excited about BlizzCon? That's the other big thing this year.
Oh yes.
Well, we'll have to make sure we say hi. I'll be there as well. And
I'm easy to find. I have pink hair and am generally surrounded.
Do you do the cosplay thing, or what do you?
I won't cosplay at BlizzCon because it sounds really silly, but that's like a chance for the people who watch me on YouTube to like meet me. And I feel like if I was in costume, I might not be as easy to find.
Good point.
And like that's like, I don't know. That's like why I like BlizzCon so much, is because I get to meet the people that watch my videos and that make my whole life possible. So
sure.
I don't want to like do anything to take it away from them being able to come up and say hi or to take a picture or whatever.
Well, I'll look for the pink hair and we'll hang out a little bit. But it's exciting because they missed a year. So this is something I've asked everybody who I have come on the show and talk about anything. Is this the year because they skipped one, and we know why they skipped it. They had a huge load. Plus, we didn't want another Geek Is 2010 kind of thing happening. And I think they didn't have a lot to show last year, or they wouldn't have. They were just done with the Diablo release. They had Mist released, and they've got HOTS on the way, which is out. What is it? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
From now.
Oh my gosh.
So
Let me tell you a funny story about that.
Oh yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to do it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm friends with Husky Starcraft.
Nice.
And the first time that I saw the Heart of the Swarm release date was on the EU site, not the NA site. And I asked him why exactly Heart of the Swarm wasn't coming out until December 3rd. Because in Europe, they do like the date and then the month. Sure. And wow, did I feel dumb.
That's awesome though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is something that Did you do it where it was recorded or taped?
Oh, I did it on Skype, and he didn't read it in between the time that my brain clicked about how derpy I was really being. Yeah, I was like, wait, it's March. Wait,
Oops.
oh,
you
man.
Europeans with your fist in the air. All right,
darn.
So this is all happening, and the big everybody predicts anyway that this is the year they'll finally tell us what Titan is, at least in some form, some degree of what Titan is supposed to be. Do you A, think that's going to happen, and B, do you have any ideas in your own head what you think Titan will be?
No, I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think they're going to talk about the Blizzard All-Stars game, because I don't think that's going to be out by BlizzCon. I think that's going to be their big announcement this year.
Wow, that'll be interesting, because that was always such a backseat project, and then it got revamped, and now I think they got to take it seriously because with
League of Legends.
Yeah, League of Legends, and to a lesser extent Dota 2 and other competition. I don't know if New Earth is still even worth bothering with, but League of Legends is just dominating. So they have to take it seriously, and I know it has to piss them off internally that this game style, which spawned out of their own game, a mod for their own stupid
most
series,
game in the world right now.
It's crazy, and to have that usurp StarCraft 2's dominance in that way. And StarCraft 2's no slouch, still kicking butt, but it's a crazy thing. So yeah, I think it will be pretty center stage. I just think they have to say something.
Well, I mean, if you do your research, which, because I have no life, I've done some. I mean, they have a pretty good idea of what. I mean, maybe I am wishful thinking, but I have a pretty good idea of what I think that Titan is going to be.
Yeah, it's
going to be a first-person shooter MMO similar to Halo in like a sci-fi universe.
So we're going to get, persistent. I mean, something close to maybe Planet Side 2,
maybe.
That sort of thing. All right.
Yeah, I mean, anything that's been said about it, they said very much that it's definitely not an MMORPG. It's definitely not World of Warcraft 2. It's not made to replace World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo. It's a completely different game altogether, which in the game genres, I mean, unless they're coming out like a puzzle game, I mean,
right.
It's pretty much has to be an FPS. And I mean, look at their staff. Half of Blizzard's development staff is from Bungie.
Yeah, that's true. They've been sucking up a lot of different people.
Who had a project called Project Titan that got canceled when Bungie disbanded and went to 343, and then the rest of them went to Blizzard.
Yeah, no, that's been bounced around a lot, and people are taking that pretty seriously. I just feel like, let's say that's all true. They have to, Pardo or somebody will just say something. They have to say something.
Well, especially since, think about it though, and they just got this deal with PlayStation, and that would be the type of game that could be on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC. I definitely think it's a first-person shooter MMO.
Yeah, I think you're probably
right. And I definitely
right.
think it's going to be Halo 1, Halo 2 style, just because of the staff that Blizzard has now.
Yeah.
Geniuses.
Yeah, those guys are smart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we'll have to wait and see.
Those are just my rainbow conspiracy theories, though.
Let's get to a question I always like to ask guests, and that is, do you have a favorite World of Warcraft memory that pops to mind?
Oh, probably when I killed the Lich King.
Yeah, that was a big one for a lot of people.
It was just a really big accomplishment, and I know it was after the nerf, and a lot of people would say that it wasn't legit or whatever, but I really worked hard, and I raided it every single week, and I wasn't in my guild, because my guild at the time was #1 on the server, and I've never been a progression raider, so I wasn't part of it. I was raiding with their alts. Oh. So it was really, really exciting for me to get that achievement and to really have worked hard, and I always did really well in the DPS. Granted, that was because that was my main and it was their alts, but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
So it was just really, really exciting for me when I killed him.
There's nothing like the sound of, a bunch of people in a vent channel just losing their crap.
Yeah, I think it was just me though losing crap, because they had all killed him on heroic. Like they were all like the light of dawn, and I was like, yeah, Kingslayer, woo, I'm awesome.
Yeah, they're just farming at that point.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, Danielle, woo.
All right, well, this is funny because it kind of goes to your other point about Lich King being the strongest, one of the strongest, if not the strongest thing they've done. There are most everyone I talk to, their favorite memories come out of Lich King. Lich
Kara
King
was good though too. The first time
Kara
I killed Prince, I remember, because our guild, that was when I was in Beef Gone Bad, best guild ever. And I remember like 2 weeks before we downed him, our GM just lost it on us, because there was one part in Prince where everybody had to move, and if you didn't move, you wiped the group. Like that was just, I don't really remember the mechanics that well because it's been changed so many times. But at the time, if you didn't move out of the way, you pretty much wiped either all the melee, or all the caster DPS. And I remember him just losing it on everybody. Like, you guys are incompetent. Are you even trying? Wasting our time, blah, blah, blah. And everybody felt so bad. And then like 2 weeks later, we downed him. We're like, yeah, we're real competent. See?
Yeah, look at that. You guys stepped up.
It was one of those motivational talks.
I believe I believe that the Nax Ramus treatment is coming to Kara. I think that's going to happen. I think that and some other older content is going to get the rehash.
Weren't they supposed to do a raid in the basement of Kara? Wasn't that like a thing that was like being thrown around for a while? And I know they ended up doing like one extra boss for a short period of time, and you could get that vampire bat pet.
Right.
But I remember them talking about, it would have been Wrath of the Lich King, I think, that there was supposed to be an entire raid that took place in the basement of Kara, and that just never happened.
Yeah, that I could see happening, something like that. I think fans would embrace it.
Kara completely. Kara was amazing. It was so fun, and it was so diverse.
Yeah, great pacing. Just
really good pacing. Yeah. And they could do it like they do now, where they break things up into wings. Like they could do like floors or something, so that you didn't have to tackle it all in one night or whatever. But Kara was awesome.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, I hope some of these things come to fruition. We've clearly figured out World of Warcraft today in this interview, and there's nothing left to be done, Blizzard. So get on that. Well, awesome. I can't say enough about being able to hang out with you. It's always fun to talk to somebody else who's doing the community thing, and you're doing it as well as anybody is on YouTube for sure. What are some places people can follow you, find you? Where should they be going?
Oh, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/TradeChats. I do videos every Friday. That's the WoW Insider Weekly Review. That is World of Warcraft news. And then on Sundays, I do the Surrender at 20 Weekly Review, which is League of Legends news. And then I upload various content throughout the week. I have a vlog channel, youtube.com/RandomPanzer. That's kind of like ADD, over-caffeinated, sugar, crazy rainbowness, where I just kind of talk about whatever comes to my mind, which is ridiculous generally. It makes very little sense.
Yeah.
Then I also have a Twitter, twitter.com/TradeChat. I also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/TradeChat on YouTube.
So lucky to get that TradeChat name. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it was Trade Cat for a while because I'm derpy, but I got that taken care of. On Thursdays when the show airs, and I know there's only a couple weeks left, but I actually do live Facebook and live tweet during the Eastern time of the show, so you can kind of get an insight of what I think about what's going on, if that interests you at all, which it probably doesn't. I don't blame you.
Oh, people love this stuff, and the more content they get in this area, the happier they are. So I'm sure they will. Well, that's fantastic. Thanks for being on the Instance. It's a real pleasure, and I'm excited to see you at BlizzCon. And hope you have a fantastic year. And I know you know who won, but I can't wait to see who won on King of the Nerds. Which
me either.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. It's a pretty exciting little competitive show. And I'm not a big reality show fan, but I dig it when there's stuff you have to do to win.
Yeah, there's been the challenge that's airing. I don't know when this interview is airing, but the challenge that is airing this Thursday, which is the 28th. Is a physics engineering based challenge.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's the first individual challenge, no teams. So
wow. All right. People should tune in then.
It's going to be a good one.
TBS, check your local listings. That's going to do it for us. Danielle, thanks again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
podcast is part of the Frog Pants Studios Network. For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.